Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
This is Craig Ackerman, TV play-by-play announcer for the Houston Rockets.
What's up, everyone? This is Jackson Gatlin, host of Locked on Rockets.
This is Chris Chavez.
This is your boy Heezy, aka Raheel Ramzanali.
It's Sean from Shots and Thoughts.
This is Will, aka Bias Houston.
This is Chucky Brown, former NBA basketball player for the 1995 NBA champion Houston Rockets.
This is Timoteo Keister.
What up, what up? It's Roosh Williams, the Mastodon himself.
What's up, Rockets fans? This is Hollywood Don Knock.
This is Devin White, aka The Gentleman.
It's your boy Von Wafer.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
This is Jonathan Sanford, public address announcer for your Houston Rockets. You're listening to The Summit State of Mind.
What is going on, everyone? You are listening to The Summit State of Mind, the podcast of dream shakes and stepbacks and everything Houston Rockets, presented to you by the Apollo Podcast Network. I am your host, your Commissioner Kenny, and of course, with me as always is my brother, my tag team partner, the GM Justin, who's looking a little sleepy right now. Wake up, big brother, wake up. How you doing today?
I'm good. I woke up from a nap and then had to take care of some stuff, and now I'm here, sipping on a good beer,
Okay, so you're doing better now. Oh wait, what's that koozie? What are you holding? Oh, okay, a little Apollo Media. Shout outs to Apollo. Okay, all right, my bad.
Yes, they're doing a good job.
It's just gonna be
keeping my beer cold.
It's just gonna be an episode of cheap plugs today, and I can't wait because I'm gonna be giving cheap plugs throughout the entire episode. And look, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger every time we're at the summit. I think the peak just keeps getting raised, and the peak gets higher because we are about to introduce this guy right here. Look, this guy's awesome. Big fan of his. We've known him for a long time. Truly an OG in that sense. Not to age this guy out by any means. This guy's a legend. This guy's awesome. He's awesome. I'm known for intros. I want to give him his intro one time. Let's see if I can give this man his proper justice. He is a Clutchfans OG, as well as a legendary blogger / podcaster for Clutchfans. He is also a self-proclaimed amateur NBA capologist. Introducing for the first time on our show, David Weiner, aka BimaThug at the Summit. David, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
I think it's just awesome just to get you on and just getting you here. And
you're too kind, man. You're going to give me a big head here.
Well, first of all, I just have to say thank you for, showing up in our last Houston Rockets watch party on behalf of me and my brother. I think it was awesome getting to see you there. I think that was awesome.
Yeah. Oh no, it was wonderful. You guys throw a good party there. It's a great venue. I tried to make it a couple other times before, but definitely had to get out there for Paulo coming in from overseas. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a great time. You guys throw a great, you have a great group that you guys get together and do over there. The giveaways, things like that. It's just a great time. I had a wonderful time with y'all.
Yes, five out of 5 stars. And remember, you also had the food that had to be served because remember, David had you on a lock because he told you, Justin, that remember if the food wasn't good, he was going to come get you.
Yeah, it was just good enough for me not to attack you. So,
hey, you know what? I had all the faith in the world in that cook over there. I told him specifically, I was like, my friend David over here is about to order some food. Make sure to add some extra love. Nothing wrong here. Just a little extra.
That's what that was.
I believe that I outed myself here, but I had to save myself first of all. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep it as it is. No worries. You enjoyed the food. My life is saved. That's all that matters. I'm here.
Well, boys, before we get off the rails too much, this is a Houston Rockets podcast. Let's talk some Houston Rockets right now. But first, we obviously have to backpedal, take a step back, James Harden style, and just talk about you, David, first and foremost, rolling out just the red carpet for you right now in regards to just your history as a Rockets fan. When did it start? And, when did it start? Like, how did it, start, progress, and how did you end up becoming, a salary cap god?
Oh God. Well, I wouldn't call myself I wouldn't go that far.
I will call you that. I am that guy. I will be that guy for you.
But I would say I actually got into the Rockets a little bit later than someone my age normally would. My dad was more of an Oilers fan. One big Rockets. I remember as a kid, like little bits of the '86 finals, but was not a Rockets fan back then. I didn't really get into the Rockets until about like 91 or so. You know, one of my earlier memories is the Robert Horry draft and the fans booing Robert Horry because they wanted to take Harold Miner instead. You know, if you ever listen to the Clutchfans podcast, they introduced Dave as the man who would have drafted Harold Miner over Robert Horry. There are many, many Rockets fans at the time that would have drafted Harold Miner over Robert Horry. Thank goodness none of them were the GM. But as far as like salary cap stuff and things like that, I think it wasn't until like there was a really long lockout back in '98. It was really bitter between the players and the owners. And I started getting curious, like, what are all these issues they're arguing about? And I started to kind of learn a little bit about that. And I think by the time there was a '99 CBA, and I think by the time there was a 2005 CBA, I was getting really into kind of the intricacies. I think my big entry point, and for those of you that follow the salary cap stuff, you probably know who this guy is, but Larry Kuhn he's the salary cap god. He is. And he publishes a frequently asked questions website about the CBA. And I just combed through that thing and read it over and over again until I got really familiar, learning from Larry. And, started posting on Clutchfans message boards. And I noticed that the fan base, while, terrific fan base, there was kind of a lack of knowledge about some of the salary cap stuff, as you would say for any fan base at the time. I think the salary cap didn't get pretty popular until not too long ago. And so would kind of post some guidance and, actually, it's not, you can't really do this because of this. And, gained a little notoriety and became friendly with Dave Hardisty and just got in with Clutchfans, started getting active on Twitter, posting salary cap stuff, and the rest is history.
That's awesome, man. Because I can definitely remember as I was younger, like in my early years on Clutchfans, I remember reading your threads, your stories, your posts, and I would just be like, okay, I'm getting an education. Because as a fan, we're not thinking about salary. And of course, someone like myself who played NBA 2K grew up at that point in time and learning those little small stuff when it pertained to the CBA and the salary cap, and being able to apply your knowledge into that and then eventually it growing. So that's kind of how it went for me, because I learned a lot of stuff from you. I don't know if I've ever told you that, but I learned a lot of stuff through your posts and your stories that you would post, not just on the forum, but on the website as well. So yeah, it's really cool to hear about how it all started. And thinking about 91, like I try to remember who it was. Like Sleepy Floyd was there at that point in time. Yeah. I don't think we had Carl Herrera just yet, because I remember he was starting.
We had Buck Johnson. Buck Johnson was Robert Horry's predecessor.
Avery Johnson was just a young little guy playing for the Rockets at that point before he went to San Antonio. What a time. Kenny, you weren't even born yet, dude.
No, I was not. Oh, why do you gotta call me out like that? Oh my goodness.
Only just by a year.
I echo the same sentiments. I think it was just really cool kind of when we grew up, and like we got to watch Rockets games obviously on TV in the early days, but kind of like hopping on Clutchfans, being a lurker, quote unquote. Those are the guys that, you don't have an account. So you just look, you go on the bulletin boards, and so BimaThug was always there. And we were just, and me and my brother always like, man, this guy really knows salary cap. And that's why I jokingly, we jokingly call ourselves these nicknames, the GM and the commissioner. I'm the commissioner, he's the GM, because he ended up like really inheriting that like type of style, like where he loves talking salary cap. And yeah, you were pretty much like the person that he looked up to in regards to that. So I just think that that's really cool. Give the man his flowers when he deserves it. Absolutely. Give this man his flowers.
And by the way, it wasn't just me. A lot of terrific posters. Mm-hmm. I don't want to name everyone because I'm going to forget someone, but especially like guys like A. Elliott, those that I was learning stuff from as I was coming up to. A lot of great posters on the site that knew their stuff besides just me.
So how did another question kind of yielding from that. Like, how did you and like Dave ended up meeting? Like, you guys were like, me and my brother in our intro, we always say, we're my tag team partner, but you guys were the OG tag team in Houston Rockets podcasting. Like, you guys were like the ones that, y'all walked so we could run, so our podcast could run. So
I think we stumbled.
How did y'all meet?
We stumbled so that you could run.
Oh my gosh.
No,
I remember listening to those way back in the day.
Oh, well, Dave reached out to me at some point and realized, oh, well, David, I really like your posts. Would you be interested in writing something for the site? And I said, oh, well, I kind of hadn't really thought about that. And then I started writing the salary cap updates, and, they're long and boring, but they seem to get a pretty positive response overall. And then when Dave started podcasting, he said, hey, come on and do it with me. And, we don't have the discipline that you guys and Jackson and the other Apollo guys have to do it so regularly. If we do 4 in a year, that's a good year for us, but yeah, so it's been fun. And, I think I remember meeting Dave for the first time, maybe it was before LBT was born, but bringing LBT in a little stroller, meet up for lunch with Dave and talk about the site and things like that. But it's been a while, but it just means we're getting old. That's all.
No, not aging, just experience. Your experience gets wiser as the years.
I'm experienced in aging, is what I am.
No, I like I said, I think it's just awesome. Like, just kind of getting to kind of hear that. And just quick side story before we move on. I remember one of my favorite moments was the Dwight Howard sweepstakes, and then y'all ended up, I think, releasing the pod. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it was a few days, maybe a few days after, right after he had signed. You guys jumped on it so quickly, and I was so happy because I'm literally just on my phone. I'm just waiting for this episode. I was like, okay, BimaThug and Clutchfans, I know they're gonna post an episode. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. So when y'all finally posted it, we were like, oh, thank God, because I just wanted to kind of hear that you guys were pretty much that extension. They're 790, 610, obviously, and they covered it, obviously. But for us as fans, like being that fan base that we are of Clutch fans at that time, we were just such huge fans. We were just waiting, patiently waiting for that episode to drop. And when it dropped, it was one of my favorite memories because you guys were just talking about like, oh man, like this is the move to be made. This team, is capable. This team is a contender. And I was just like, man. So now looking at that now, obviously it didn't work out, but at the time I loved it.
Conference finals appearance is nothing to sneeze at. I'll look back fondly on the Dwight Howard tenure, at least 2/3 of it.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I mean, the first time after 18 years getting to the conference finals, that was enough for me. I was happy. You take the blessings where you can, and forget about the rest, man.
That's right. Well, I think it's great just kind of getting to hear your story. Let's fast forward now. Let's go back to today now. Let's talk about modern day. What's going on with the Rockets today? I know you've been kind of doing your rounds in regards to that, hopping on some of the other podcasts, but I kind of just want to, get you on this platform, getting to talk about the draft. Look, the draft is a little over 2 weeks away. The Rockets are selecting 3rd overall in the NBA draft. Question. This is the $1 million question here for you, David. Are you on the Banchero boat? Are you in Jabari's jungle? Are you in Chet's cheddar fields? Or dare I say, are you even in the Ivy League? Where do you stand right now?
I like that.
Where do you...
I would not necessarily say I am steadfast in one camp. If you're asking me how would I rank the players, those 4 guys, my personal ranking, I go Chet 1, Jabari 2, Paolo 3, Ivy 4. If I don't think the Rockets are going to go Ivy, but if they end up with any of those bigs, I'm going to be a happy man.
I just want, okay, so that begs the question. So I want to because I can understand Chet being the number 1 pick, but a lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people are like, this guy is under 200, soaking wet. So what is it that makes you believe that Chet Holmgren is going to be that guy? I can see it, but from your perspective, what do you see that makes Chet being that guy, being the number 1 overall pick in this year's NBA draft?
Sure. I think he just has the most overall raw talent. I think just his size, his skill level, his length. He is an elite shot blocker while being a 39% 3-point shooter. And I know he's a stick. He's going to have to eat a lot of pasta. That's for sure. But, at some point you have to have some confidence in your strength and conditioning program. I mean, if you recall, Yao Ming was a stick when he came over. And by the time the Rockets were contending with him, he had some girth to him. He had some real muscle on him. The legs were tree trunks, but even the upper body, really, he built himself up over over a few years. And the hope would be you do something not necessarily that drastic because he's not as big as Yao, but something along those lines where, 2 years from now, he's got that strength that you're concerned about. But this team is in desperate need of rim protection. He's the best one. He's the best one of the top players for sure. He can spread the floor. He can put it on the floor. He's got great handles for a 7-footer. I just think the pros outweigh the cons. I think he's got the highest ceiling. So that's why I personally like Chet. Again, we go Jabari, we go Powell. I'm a happy man either way, but that's just my personal preference.
Same here. I'm a Paolo guy. I can't help myself. But to be honest with you, I've been watching a lot more Jaden Ivey film recently. And the more I watch it, the more I'm like, man, we could really use this guy. That athleticism is certainly something else that can be molded. But I understand where you're coming from in regards to Chet.
Ivy is a very strong fourth.
Yeah,
he's a very
absolutely.
strong fourth, but I got the other three ahead of him.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I feel the exact same way. You can talk yourself into any of them any given day. Maybe even though I personally like Paulo based on the stuff that he brings to the table, basketball IQ, playmaking at 6'10", I think the shot will be better. Obviously, the defense is a concern, but I believe that with the right system, it can happen. But granted, we're the worst defensive team in the league. I don't know if we're exactly too focused on defense at this point in time, but
we just need
we'll see how it
players.
goes. Touche. See, there you go. Basketball IQ is certainly a thing. That's something that Kenny and I always had concern with, especially with this year's team. We just didn't think that there was much there. I'm not saying that the guys are dumb. It's just there's stuff that they have to process in regards to the learning curve because they're so young. There's a lot to learn in regards to NBA basketball. So we're gonna see some good stuff from this squad coming up this year. But regardless of who we get in this draft, I'm just very excited. So excited. The fact that we got top 3, that's a victory to us. And with 17, that's just a little sprinkle on the top. You know what I mean?
Oh, people come into this thing thinking, oh, well, we had the worst record in the league. We are entitled to the top pick. And if we don't end up with the top pick, it is some sort of injustice. Well, the Rockets had only a 40% chance of getting a top 3 pick. And going in, that's what I cared the most about. Just get in the top 3.
Yep.
And they did, and I'm happy.
People don't realize it's not 1983 anymore. You don't have to coin flip to get a key or Ralph Sampson.
No, it's so funny that you say that too, because we hosted a draft, a lottery draft that night, and the video, made its rounds on Twitter. And if you zoom in on my face when we got the 3rd pick, you see me go, oh, just kind of for a split second, it lets the breath out. It go you see me go like this. Oh, and then you just see me shake my head and go, oh yeah, no, this is good. And you just see me clap my hands no, this is good. And you just the collective morale of everyone else is just go. And then I think it's me and J-Dub are the two that are no, we're good. This is great. This is what we want. So
if it makes you feel better, I had the same reaction because I was really hoping for top 2 because I thought Chet and Jabari I have just a little bit above Paolo. But I was exactly like you. I was the Alonzo Mourning gif. They're kind of shaking my head and they go, oh, yeah.
I was finding the words, and once again, David finds it for me. See, once again, I just know I love it. And just one last thing to chime in on before we move on to the next topic. I just want to say in regards to, I'm in the Jabari jungle. I'm a Jabari Smith guy. Beginning of the NCAA year, I was 50-50 going with him and Chet, honestly. And I knew obviously the negatives are the fact that, like you said, less than 200 soaking wet. But like you said, I believed in that same thing, that the pros outweigh the cons. And rim protection, I'm echoing your same sentiments, but the rim protection is desperately, desperately needed. I know everyone believes that Alperen's the future, including, I'm sure all of us can honestly agree that he's going to be something special in the future, but definitely not your typical rim protector. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how I see him as. And I don't, so in regards to that, I'm just saying, like, someone like a Chet, if I played devil's advocate going the other way, Chet Holmgren is the prototypical perfect center that you would want next to a KP, a Jalen Green, like these guys that are already set in motion. You just need that rim protector that can run. And then you add the 3-point shooting, you add the ball handling, you add his inside game on top of it. And that's just cherry on this incredible Sunday that we already have. But so I don't know, man. I'm at a point in my life though, where I'm with y'all, and I'm especially with you, David, that I'm happy with all 3 picks. Like, really, I can buy into each and every one of them. I can buy into all their stock. I'm definitely not like, oh, I hate Paolo. No, whoever we get.
I will just say this, that I think Chet is good, at least in the early part of his career, is going to be primarily a 4. And I think he's the best fit with Şengün. Again, don't make this pick count like based on who fits with Şengün, but it just so happens that Chet is also the best fit next to Şengün. Jabari being a close second, in my opinion.
I agree. Who's it that he played? Who's that he played with? Gosh, I remember his name.
Jalen Suggs?
No. That he played with just this past year in Gonzaga.
Drew Timme,
because Timme reminded me so much of Şengün. So that's why I was like, okay, yeah, this can work perfectly. So we'll see, obviously, what ends up happening. Look, we're like a little over 2 weeks, like I said, but the 3rd pick is not the only thing that is in our hands right now. The GM said it, the 17th pick is the cherry on top of this Sunday. So, this pick as a whole just seems a bit more flexible for our Rockets in regards to who they may draft. But David, first, over to you. Do you think the Rockets will they trade up? Will they trade down? Do they trade out? Or do they, dare I say, do they stand pat? Do they stand pat and end up, just picking somebody? What say you?
I mean, if you're asking me if I'm a betting man, you got to bet on standing pat, because only a fraction of all trades even discussed ever actually happen.
Of course.
But, I mean, they'll certainly try to trade up, I think. I think there's a tier of players that could fall into the range, maybe a few picks above 17. They may try to trade up a few spots. I don't see them trading down unless everyone in the tier they're aiming at is gone and they have like 6 guys all in the same tier when they come up. Maybe they could trade down a few spots. But, Rafael Stone, I think he even admitted that they had some offers at the trade deadline for Eric Gordon that would have given them a late first-round pick in this draft, and he just didn't want it because there's no room for another first-round pick. That you look back to the Daryl Morey contending years where you were just praying you could have 1 first-round pick on your roster. Now we're gonna have so many. We don't know what to do with all of them. So I don't know if we really have any room for another first-round pick. The player would die on the vine here almost. So that's why I'm not so sure they trade down unless they can get a comparable talent to whoever's left over at 17.
No, I totally understand that. I'm actually in the boat of where we trade out. I personally would want to trade. Let me rephrase that. There are certain players that I would want at 17, but to me, I just believe that it should be more important to take care of the players that we have now in regards to PT, unless they believe that there is a player they can bring in at 17 that could possibly make an impact, whether it's going to be in the big leagues or at RGV. Because personally, 2023 isn't a stronger draft. The more picks that you have in that draft, there are possibilities that are endless, because that's going to be a lot more active, I guess, in the sense of trading. And with all the players that are coming out that year, I just personally would want an extra pick, even though we do have the Milwaukee pick in 2023, I believe. Yeah.
Unprotected.
So, yep, that's worth something. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not holding my breath on the Milwaukee Bucks being terrible, but hey, we thought the Brooklyn Nets were going to be amazing this year. We thought that pick was going to be 28, and it turned out to be 17. So you never know.
Thank goodness. But I do want to ask you though, like, if we stay pat at 17, who do you think that we take? Personally, who do you think?
Oh, I definitely know the answer to that.
Oh,
the best player available.
Get that on the back of a jersey.
EPA.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people talking about, we got to get a strong wing defender, a guy like Tari Eason. I would love to get Tari Eason. If that's who we take, I'd be ecstatic. But if the Rockets have some I'll just use a random example. Johnny Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I could see the Rockets. He's certainly not a fit. He plays the same position as Jalen Green, although he can play some point. Not exactly an ideal fit, but I could totally see the Rockets having him higher than Tari Eason on their draft board. And
taking him.
If he falls to 17 for some reason, Rafael's going to go with the best player available. This was the worst team in the league 2 years in a row. You're not we have this player who's a rotation guy right now. Well, he's a rotation guy on the worst team in the league. Take the best player available and you figure out fit later.
There you go. I agree. If no one saw his post yesterday about Aaron Brooks, that's exactly that's the reference that was from.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't a fan of the pick either, but man, he certainly helped out.
I hated the Aaron Brooks pick in real time, and I was an idiot. So.
We were all constantly humbled.
So, just quickly educate the youngins. I mean, gosh, goodness gracious. I rewatched that, Where Amazing Happened doc. And then, it was our Rafer Alston, Steve Francis, Mike James. And then, let's go ahead and tack on Aaron Brooks while we're at it. 4 point guards.
So the 2007 draft, this was Daryl Morey's first draft as the GM, the full GM, where he was the guy in charge. He took Aaron Brooks with the 26th pick. Thought it was terrible. He was like the 5th or 6th point guard on our roster. Oh, he doesn't fill a need. Oh, terrible. He's a little guy. And then the Seattle Sonics with the first pick of the second round, 31, took Carl Landry, power forward out of Purdue. And I laughed at them saying, oh my God, Carl Landry, he was supposed to go late in the second round. And then I found out that they took the pick for the Rockets. The Rockets drafted him. And I was angry. Oh, this Daryl Morey doesn't know what he's doing. And 2-3 years later, Aaron Brooks and Carl Landry, if you did a redraft, they both go lottery to mid-first round. So
easily.
Yep.
Shows what I knew then. I think I'm a little smarter now, but probably not much more.
No, I that's the thing. And that's the thing. It's the draft. It's the luck of the draw. You really can't anticipate, and I always told my brother this, we can talk till the cows come home about how much this guy's better, player A is better than player B. Guy, we just don't know at the end of the day. And I'm gonna just say in regards to Morey in his first draft, I mean, compared to Raphael Stone, I mean, everyone considers as this moment, and as of right now, he's been hitting grand slams as far as we know right now on the draft. So
don't forget, KJ Martin with the 52nd pick was a steal. It was a wonderful first pick for Raphael.
I'm gonna tell you too. I'm gonna be honest with you, David. When I first saw that pick, I was like, all right, Kenyon Martin Jr. Okay, cool. There's still something there. Okay, that's cool. But I can't just be like, I watched his game tape. Oh yeah, he's gonna be great. Nope. I just saw, I was like, Kenyon Martin Jr. Okay, sure, why not? He's a junior. We'll see what happens. I think just in regards to that, we don't know obviously who they're gonna draft at number 17. But if they do stand pat, GM, you asked David. GM asked the OG GM who he would pick. But over to you now, Justin. I know that you have a pick. I want you to put it out to the world. Who would you pick with the 17th pick?
Oh, man. As much as I do like Tari Eason, I've been on the Jalen Williams bandwagon. I've been watching a lot of his film, and a lot of what he does, I feel like would complement really well this team. And he has strengths that this team could definitely use. Granted, his outside shooting can be a little inconsistent, but when it's on, it's on. And his defense, it can be, how can I say this? His defense may not, off the ball, he can get a little lost, but when he's man-to-man, he makes some great decisions. He's very good laterally. He does a great job staying in front of his man. And I'll say this. He played high school as a point guard. He was short. He was recruited as a point guard to Santa Clara, and then he grew, came to, but he has point guard mentality. And as much as we want to hammer down with Kevin Porter Jr., love the guy, we just don't know what the future holds in regards to him. And there's nothing wrong with investing a later pick in someone that could potentially take that over. He's been playing it all of his life. And at 6'6", length is huge. And I think we're starting to realize how important length really is. And I think he has a 7'2" wingspan. Ridiculous. Freaking ridiculous. So you know what? Yes, I am on that bandwagon, and I'm all about molding that bandwagon. So
Justin, you think he played point guard?
He played
in the NBA.
I believe that let me rephrase this. I'm not sure if he'll start. I believe that he'd be a great 2 guard, but he is someone that like running the point, like an Eric Gordon running the point, someone that can take control when need be. And he can make plays when the ball's in his hands, but to run a full elite NBA offense, no, not like that. But I just want him because to be honest with you, in my opinion, years from now, I think Jalen Green's going to dominate the ball. And regardless of who the point guard is, he should be the one with the ball most of the time. And the other playmakers should be people that if Şengün does work out, or man, I was huge on the Josh Christopher bandwagon, but I don't know. I have a little bit of my doubts on his playmaking skills currently. But I believe that he can be someone that can help in regards to that. Playmakers are, I wouldn't say abundant in this league, but they're definitely necessary. Shot makers and shot creators definitely is what is needed. And he is certainly someone that I believe in based on what I've seen now. I have a lot of hope, but shoot, I can be just as wrong as I am right. Who the hell knows, man?
That could be the theme of all draft podcasts. Who the hell knows?
Exactly. Trust me, I'm always that way. I hear people talk like so definitively, and I'm just like, man, I hope you're right, man. I respect it, man.
Yeah, that's some of the Clutch fans. I think I was saying like, oh, the Rockets might be interesting. Ty Washington. That'd be a decent pick. And someone's like, no, they're not going to take him. I was like, how do you know? You don't, they're not looking at Ty. They're looking at 50 different players. I mean, come on.
Yep, exactly. If they don't bring in that many people, then they're not doing their due diligence. They're not doing their job because you never know, So yeah, I think it's funny when people are so dismissive. It cracks me up. I'm always the guy that's just like, hey, dude, you never know. We don't know what Raphael Stone's thinking in the back of his head, but hey, man, I'm just here for the ride. We can all speculate as much as we want, but then once those picks are made, that's when we can all, say our comments and whatever, the fit or what role they'll play or blah, blah, blah. But that's the best part about it, man, to be honest. That's what I enjoy.
I don't know. For me, I'm just not going to draft in regards to fit. And I know it's comparing apples to oranges, but my best comparison to that is, look, when you go back to the Houston Astros, they didn't draft based on fit. They went with the best athlete, the best player available, and they figured it out later. Alex Bregman and Carlos Correa were both in the same position, and then they just maneuvered Bregman to the third base spot. So at this point, like you said, David, this is the worst team in the NBA. So it's not going to break any banks by getting, the best player available, especially at the 17th pick. So I fully believe that I'm fully confident in Stone's ability and the team that he has around him. I have my full confidence in them. I fully believe that whatever decision they're going to pick, it's going to be a decision that we as a fan base are going to have to trust, regardless whether we want to or not. We're going to have to trust it. So no matter what happens, we're just going to have to see what obviously
who's your pick?
You said it earlier, Tari Eason, but I just don't think he'll get there. I fully
He'd be a great pick.
Right? I just feel it in my loins that I feel like he just won't be there. Like 12th, maybe 13th, maybe or maybe even 14. I don't know.
Knowing us, he'll go 16.
Always. I would watch Jeremy Sohan, maybe, like Marjan Beauchamp. Those are all guys that just work out so well for us, to be honest with you. They fell. I'm all for it, dude.
I wanted, it's funny too. One last thing before we move on to the next topic, but I wanted Devin Booker the year that we got, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name now. Sam Decker. It was Sam Decker. Sam Decker at number 8. I think
that was the draft we wanted to trade.
And I think Booker went 12 or 10. He went somewhere
12, I think.
It was
13.
See, 13, just 5 picks. But yeah, no, like you said, knowing our luck, Tari Eason's probably going to get picked 16. So it depends. We'll see. If Stone is going to trade up, if they announce a trade up, I'm going to be like, okay, they got their guy. They know exactly who they want. No, their tops on their board is available, and they're going to go get him. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But look, boys, let's move forward now. Let's move past the draft at this point, because cheap plug right now. David put out an amazing article that I already read. It's on Clutchfans right now. So you go on clutchfans.com, catch my boy's article. It's live right now.
.net.
.net. You're right.
Yes.
It's so funny. You put .net, but I put .com and it still pops up.
It might.
Yeah. So
it was .net back in the day.
Well, no, I think it's still .net. No, but even .com, it still pops up. But you're right though. My apologies. Really, I should have David be the one to plug his own. I'm just trying to gas my boy up. But, so you gave an awesome update, like you did your salary cap update, especially in regards to the free agency. I just, could you give us a bit of kind of like, I guess a monologue rundown of what to look forward to?
Justin, you didn't get a long enough nap today. You want to?
Man. Hey. we don't need any personal attacks here. I need my rest, just a little bit.
Well, I'm going to help you here if I start talking about my articles.
We don't need any self-loathing here, Dave. None of that.
That's my default setting.
What to look forward to in regards to this free?
Sure. No, I'm just kidding. It really just most of it is just kind of laying out the facts of, okay, here's who's on the books for next year, how much everybody makes. We have a couple small dead cap hits, some cap holds for some free agents, and kind of letting you know, like when people are like, oh, well, are we going to have cap room, or can we go out and do this or that? Trying to put in perspective, okay, well, here are all the commitments right now, and this is going to affect what we can do. And bottom line is, unless they get a really good deal on a John Wall buyout, or some uneven trade at the trade deadline, they're probably going to be operating over the cap this year. They're way below the luxury tax, so they can take on more salary. They can, if they want to, they can use the full mid-level exception this summer. So they have a lot of flexibility in taking on more salary, but they don't just have a ton of cap room this summer to go out and get any big name they want.
Not necessary anyway. Let's wait until 2023.
Yeah. There's so many roster spots accounted for. They don't need to be active in free agency. Mm-hmm. They can roll it over again. And again, if the team's not great this year, so be it. You let them grow. I thought the last part of this past season was really good, seeing the young guys grow. And if they can keep that up next year, if it's Paolo or whoever the pick is and Jalen, let them grow together, make their mistakes, take their lumps, so be it.
I'm 100% behind that. Absolutely. Based on who we have on the roster right now, I mean, there's no reason to. Like, you're not going to try to give away Eric Gordon or Christian Wood for nothing. And even then, you still got to worry about Kevin Porter Jr. going into restricted free agency next year. So we'll see how that all goes. It's just really interesting to see. And I'm curious to see if there is any trades made in the draft in regards to some of our veterans. I highly doubt it. It just seems like the value of said guys aren't too high. And that's always something you can wait. If nobody sees Christian Wood as a first round value at this moment, you might as well play it out because we value him a little bit more higher than everyone else. And we'll see how that goes. Who knows? Maybe it'll work. Maybe he won't try to dominate the ball as much this year. We'll see how it goes. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we just got to roll with who we got and hope that Steven Silas and all the other assistant coaches can make it happen,
Yeah.
Yep. No, the time for the big move is next summer.
Exactly. I'm all for it.
Well, let's, just for fun, let's fast forward to next year. Let's say it's 2023. So the saying right now goes that, 2 max slots open up, right, David? What needs to happen for these 2 max slots to open up? Like, it's true, right? So this is truth that the 2 max slots will open up.
It might be true.
Okay.
They will easily have at least 1 max slot and a plenty more. Whether they get all the way to 2 max slots remains to be seen. In order to do that, number one, don't take on a ton of big salary this summer. You probably got to say goodbye. Well, you're pretty much definitely waiving Eric Gordon. He has a non-guaranteed year for that season, and you can waive him and let him walk. You could keep Christian Wood and a max player and another decent sized bit of room for another guy, or you can let Wood walk, and then you're closer to 2 double max room. You still got a cap hold for KPJ. The good news there is because he was the 30th pick of the draft, his cap hold isn't as outrageous as some other first round picks that are coming up for new contracts. And then you also got Jayshawn Tate, who is basically on it's not technically a minimum contract, but is basically a minimum contract. So his cap hold is going to be very small. So hypothetically speaking, and I'm not saying we all want to spend the owner's money, but we can say, oh, double max and do all this. And by the time you're you're re-upping Jalen Green, all of a sudden you're $100 million into luxury tax. So, you hypothetically could get 2 max guys and bring back KPJ on a new deal and bring back Jayshawn Tate on a new deal. So it's pretty exciting, the flexibility and how much room or maneuverability they're going to have next summer. It really is pretty exciting.
That's a part of Rafael Stone I can't wait to see operate. We've seen him operate during the draft, but in free agency, that's where we want to see the cap manipulation that this man makes. So I'm curious to see how it goes. I'm just as excited as you. Trust me.
And don't necessarily assume it's going to only be from free agency. There may be some trades involved, either at the trade deadline. They may realize, oh, well, all these guys are getting extended and the free agent class next summer isn't as great as we thought it was going to be, a few months ago. Let's push our chips, half our chips into to the middle of the table at the trade deadline and make a preemptive move to use up some of that, take on more space. So we don't have as much cap room next summer, but we're getting a good guy now before someone else.
Yeah.
So it just the flexibility they have, because nowadays free agency is becoming a smaller and smaller part of team building as guys are re-upping all the time before they hit free agency. So, don't be surprised if it's some mixture of free agency and trades.
I can't wait. I'm very excited to see what's going to end up happening in terms of next year. I know 2023 is going to be it's quote unquote the year, especially since this is the year, this coming season is going to be year 3 of the full rebuild. So you on a typical rebuild, you give yourself about 3 years, right, David? And then if you have a chance to jump on a free agent or kind of bring someone in to kind of round the team out, a la, what Chris Paul ended up being for Phoenix, you kind of take that chance, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can be 3, 4, sometimes even 5 years. And I'd probably say half of rebuilds get derailed because the owner gets impatient and makes a win now move instead, and I will give him credit. I've given Tillman Fertitta some criticism over the years, but I will give him credit. He is letting Rafael and his team do what they need to do here. It's frustrating. I can imagine for Tillman Fertitta, it's very frustrating. You're paying all this money for a losing product, but I think he sees the bigger picture now and stepping back and being hands off. So credit to him for letting Rafael do what he needs to do. But, I'm hoping this is the last year of pain and then it's back to respectability, but you never know. It could be one more year if things don't go our way, and, things don't always go your way. So, I'll tell you what, if we were bad this year and got very, very lucky and got Victor Wembanyama in the draft next year, then I think you start seeing things turn the other way.
Touche.
David, I'm going to need a whole nother episode with you talking about Victor Wembanyama. We'll do that later. We'll do that in another episode. That I'm already rubbing my hands at the thought process of getting a Victor Wembanyama. But no, you're absolutely right. I can't wait to see in regards to what's going to happen next year. It's going to be a very big year in regards to our Rockets. So we'll see what happens then. Look, David, I also just want to round this out with another question in regards to your past as a whole. David, favorite Rockets memory, that you got to experience firsthand?
Oh God, the championships. My dad took me he got playoff tickets. We sat in the upper deck. I was in high school at the time. And I was there for game 7. And I remember going nuts. We are the champion, blaring the confetti coming down, hugging complete strangers, going down Richmond with everyone honking their horns. It was, aside from my wedding, probably the greatest experience of my life. And that's including the birth of my child.
I love it. I love it. Love to hear it.
They probably know what I'm talking about. It's not the greatest moment of your life. It's very stressful. The birth of your child. But then I was also back in 95. I was there with my dad and my kid brother, and all 3 of us got to experience game 4 over Orlando. Man. So it's unbelievable. I don't think those will ever be topped. I hope to have comparable experiences in the future, but being there with my dad and my brother, they'll never be topped. You know what? I take that back. Rockets win a championship and I'm there with my son. That'll top.
There you go.
There you go.
You already experienced the 27. You got to experience the 2017 championship, right? Didn't you have?
Yeah, we were
at the stadium.
We were,
obviously not.
We were at Minute Maid Park watching it on the Jumbotron, and we had kind of a reasonable facsimile of that experience. And I'll tell you, it was right after Harvey. We were flooded out of our house. We were living in my parents' upstairs. It was a rough few months, and it was such a cathartic experience.
Yeah,
we were just crying in each other's arms. That's also one of the greatest Houston sports experiences in my life.
Jeez, so that championship brings goosebumps to me just talking about it. See, I love hearing about it because, man, that's all we want. Like Kenny even said, like, to me when we did win, he was like, "This is something you waited all your life for, man." And I was like, "Dude, trust me, this is a moment I'll forever remember." So championships for our teams is something that as Houstonians we don't experience as much. So anytime that someone speaks so glowingly about, especially experiencing 94 and 95, is such a wonderful thing, man. I love to hear it because I was way too young to really experience it. I was just with my dad banging pots and pans in the living room during Game 7. That was quite a time. I remember that very vividly, but it's different when you're that young as opposed to like being as an adult now. So that's something just we look forward to for sure to experience, and hoping it'll be soon with Jalen Green at the helm. That's all we can hope for, right?
I know, crossing everything that we have, and I guess just in regards to that, like for me, like I guess sports experience is obviously going to be Houston Astros, but best experience I was only a few years old when the Rockets won their title, so obviously it's not something that I can recall like vividly. I think for me it had to have been that 2018 year, just from top to bottom, that 65-17 Rockets and steamrolling through the teams, and obviously that huge Game 5 win over the Warriors is probably as good as it got. Obviously was derailed by the Chris Paul injury, but I think as a whole, though, that was that moment of like, oh man, champs on the ropes. Like we're about to knock these guys off their throne. This is about to be it here. So, well, I'm just excited. Like the GM said, Jalen Green, Houston Rockets, him at the helm, get someone like a Paolo, Chet, Jabari, whoever, and let's go next year and we'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully we get Victor Wembanyama. That's my personal hope. But it's funny that we're talking about championships right now. Last question over to you, David, just for fun right now. Look, Game 2 is literally playing as we speak. Who did you have winning, and give us the games?
Oh gosh.
I know.
The family's been talking about that a lot. I don't know the score, so don't kill me if I'm completely wrong. I don't know. I have a feeling Golden State's going to win Game 2. I don't know the score. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm rooting for Boston, but
me too.
Yeah, I mean, I think Boston in 7 was my pick going in, so I got to stick with Boston in 7. But it's good. I mean, Game 1 was amazing. This should be a really fun series. It could really go either way. I'm rooting for Boston, but I just like watching good basketball being played, and both these teams play great basketball.
Yeah, me too. I got Boston in 7, and I think Warriors are going to win tonight too. So I totally understand where you're coming from. There's no way they lose 2 games in Oracle in a row. I mean, or is that Oracle Chase?
Not Oracle.
Sorry,
yes, not Oracle.
Sorry, my apologies.
Obviously mistakes are made. Yeah, I picked Golden State. Like I jokingly picked Golden State in 5. Obviously I'm not wrong yet. So I'm getting close though, because currently we're at halftime. Literally as we record this pod, it's 52-50 right now, Warriors at halftime. So
okay,
we'll see what it's like I said, we're in tune for a good game here, so I can't wait to see what happens there. David, once again, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. This is a check off the Summit bucket list, getting David on. And you think we're joking? We're not even joking. This is serious.
I hope it was really down low on that list.
You'll never know.
Next to getting Houston Rockets star Chase Buttinger, absolutely.
Yeah. One of my favorite picks ever.
Absolutely.
Oh, loved him.
David, let's roll out the red carpet for you one more time. Just let the people know if there's anything you want to say in regards to, like anything, where to follow you, anything that you want to say in regards to that, shout outs, anything you want to say.
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter at BimaThug, BimaThug, or, you'll catch my stuff on clutchfans.net. And every once in a while, Dave and I'll put out a podcast. We're starting to do some Twitter spaces every once in a while. So, we get really excited around draft time and free agency. So they expect maybe some more of those, but definitely not with the frequency and the high level of quality that you guys do it. But we'll try to put it out.
There's nothing high quality about our content. We're just a bunch of dudes messing around for the most part. I totally had this on my list and I totally had forgotten to ask it. Quick bonus last question. BimaThug. Where did that nickname come from?
Oh God. I gotta leave something to mystery. Only a select few people know what that means. And I may tell you, but I'm not telling you on the air.
Oh, okay.
I like that. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah, no. Let's get off this pod as quickly as possible. I'm just kidding.
It's really so lame. It really is not. It's really not fun. It's cool or anything.
Let's keep it mysterious. No, I like this. Let's keep it mysterious. So, David, once again, from myself and my brother, we really appreciate it. Just getting you on. Thank you so much. GM, anything you have to say in regards before we move on and end here?
Just want to say thank you, Dave. We really appreciate you for coming on, and we just look forward to everything that you and the other Dave will be posting up, man.
I'll let him know you call him the other Dave.
Don't tell him, man. I'm gonna get in trouble. See, I don't know how I feel about that. Whew. Oh man.
I'm trying to stay on Clutchfans' good side. I don't know what.
There you go. Mr. Hardisty. Yeah, we'll call him Mr. from now on. Show that respect.
Well, David, once again, it's such a pleasure getting you on. Thank you so much. We got to get you on again in the future, and we appreciate everything that you do for Clutch fans, for us, and for all the entire Rockets community. Thank you.
No, thanks so much for having me, guys. It was great.
The Summit for life.